If you don't follow today's advice when it comes to your content and your messaging as a coach or course creator, then you stand to become that guy. To avoid it, keep on watching this video. Hey guys, what's up? Jeremy Montoya here from personalfreedommentoring.com. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about exactly what to do to avoid basically becoming an embarrassment in your market and to really help your business to save face. And I wanna start by offering you a story. A couple years ago, one of my buddies, a really good friend of mine, shared with me a kind of embarrassing thing that happened to him at a party. Basically, he went through this phase where if he didn't hear or catch on to what someone was saying, or he wanted to kind of throw them off, he would blurt something out as kind of a way to break rapport, to kind of like be a little funny. If you can imagine, someone might be talking and he would interject before you even get too far into the sentence or right when he walked into the room and say, "Who died?" So you're in the middle of starting to talk and someone says, "Who died?" And it kind of throws you off, and in some situations it might create a chuckle or something like that. Until this one last time that he said, "Who died?" Basically, he found out after he said it that his friend's mom had died and they were sharing what had just happened. So number one, that was the last time he ever said that. But number two, he was super embarrassed and felt really bad. And I think that this is the same moral of the story for today's market when it comes to being a coach or a course creator. It's very easy to not be sensitive to someone's political views or something that's going on in the news that's very widely socially accepted, and to kind of be seen as a jerk and just really insensitive. And so today I thought it would be helpful to talk about what it means to adjust your messaging and your content efforts so that you can really just avoid becoming an embarrassment inside of your market and being the person that everyone's talking about in a bad way, and hopefully get them talking about you and your leadership and your kind of position in the market in a good way. Now, before we dive too deep into today's video, you're probably either making content as a coach or a course creator, or you're an aspiring online entrepreneur and making content but not really sure of how to do it, of what to do, of how to organize it. And so at the end of today's video, I'm gonna share with you a free resource, a download for you, if you're making content or aspiring to make content, so that you can just have it organized and super simple. It's called a content log. So if that's you, I'll share with you where you can get that at the end of today's video. For now, let's dive into the 3 ways you're going to adjust your messaging and your content to really stay ahead. Number one, much like the race cars that go around on a track, periodically they stop and they have some maintenance done to their car and then they keep on going. And I want you to apply the same framework in your business. I want for you to have some checkpoints. In my preference, it's either monthly or quarterly, where you're visiting your messaging and saying, is it relevant and contextual? This content that we're making or planning on making, it's scheduled to have go out and be published. Is this very relevant to the current thing going on in the market? In April 2020, we've experienced a complete economic collapse, but sometimes inside of our markets, there can be shifts too. And so this is relevant whether there's a huge economic crash or just some other theme or thing emerging inside of your marketplace. And so what I want for you to do is to install a checkpoint. And my recommendation is just to have regularly scheduled, recurring automatically appointments in your calendar for you to ask yourself a series of questions with your content. And so we need a checkpoint number one in order to do that. And so the first question I want for you to ask yourself during this checkpoint is my message sensitive to the current narrative in the world? And the answer might just be a simple yes, a no, or an I don't know. But it at least gives you the chance to have that moment and to ask yourself, is this thing that I'm gonna make or that I'm making, is it relevant to right now? And is it sensitive to the narrative? Because there's nothing worse than being the who died guy and not being sensitive to the current narrative, right? Question number two, and this is a little bit more advanced. I want you to ask yourself, what's the current narrative? And I want you to ask yourself how you can polarize with it while remaining sensitive to the world or not. You know, everyone has their own kind of meter or scale with how much risk and how much reward they're looking to get. And polarizing can be a very tough and advanced thing to do because it has the chance to ruin your reputation or to create your reputation. But I want you to ask yourself, what's the narrative and how can I go against it? Just as an exercise, and polarize what might be going on, because every time these shifts happen in a certain amount of time, everyone starts to take on this new narrative. And so I think it's best to be the first one to do it, but I think it's also to be different than everybody else. And so asking yourself that question can help you get into that creative kind of flow and juice, and add that juice to your marketing to say, hey, how can I polarize and kind of still stay relevant during this narrative? Whatever the case, we have to have these checkpoints. So thing number one is to create a checkpoint in your business, much like the cars on a racetrack, to be able to ask yourself a series of questions, if not the 2 questions I just laid out for you, to make sure that your content is relevant and sensitive to the current situation, and that way you don't become that embarrassing person. That said, let's get on to point number 2. Second, and this is really an advantage of the 2020 world that we live in, is I want you to leverage quick content so that you can beat the market into getting that messaging out. You see, if I waited on setting up lighting and audio and the editing of this video to get my message out for this, and I'd be behind the curve. But the fact of the matter is, I've been sharing this message and more since the world economy changed with quick content on my stories. Which, by the way, if you're not following me, I share daily stories and tips. These are things I'm learning from the programs that I'm in and listening to my news sources, helping you to stay ahead of the curve and giving you helpful content to help you stay ahead and to become the leader in your marketplace. And so if you aren't following me yet, head to Instagram and look me up at WhatUpJeremy. So you can see also how I'm doing this and how this applies into your business. But basically you'll see that I go on the story every single day and I do some sort of quick content relevant to what's going on in the world right now, relevant to what's going on in my market's mind. Don't wait to do a well-polished and published video or audio or blog post. Have a way every single day that you're leveraging this quick content so you can get your message out to the people and stay relevant, much like a newspaper would. This is great to leverage current trends, current conversations. I use the Twitter hashtag trends to see what's going on and to enter the conversation going on in the world narrative, which is probably also somewhat to a degree going on in your market's narrative. And by doing that, you'll stay relevant and you'll probably stay sensitive to the topic, but regardless, you'll have messaging and content that's specific to the times, and you'll have a quick way of doing it. Now let's talk about thing number 3, and that is, my friends, shift happens. You see, sometimes economies shift, or governments shift, or the narrative, or the people shift. And when shift happens, we have to have a plan, and we have to stay logical, grounded, and rational, focusing on things that we can control so that we can just continue to be or to become the leaders in our markets and to become the leader that our markets and our people are all looking up to. When things do shift, it's my recommendation to pause everything that you have regularly scheduled of going out, and this includes launches, and just be combing through all of it and asking yourself, does this work now? Could this work now, or should we even go forward with this? And my promise to you is that for a few of you watching this is that you're gonna think back to this video when some sort of shift happens in your industry and in your world, and you're gonna find something that says, wow, if I would have put this out, I would have had a damage control. And now, by being able to stop and to shift and to adjust, I'm gonna be able to be that leader that my people are already looking to, and to be that standout leader that at the end of all of this shift, people come back to and continue to look at as that sought after leader. So shift happens, and when it does, we need to pause everything, get grounded and present, and look at all of it with a fresh lens and say, is this the right message to move forward with? And if it is, move forward with it. And if it's not, of course, adapt it, adjust it, and make it relevant for today. Don't be the who died person in your market. Instead, be the person who's always listening and always adapting and adjusting to the situation at hand. Be sure to schedule time into your calendar to be reflecting on your messaging. And when shift happens, pause everything, stay calm, and ask yourself these questions from this video about, is this relevant? Is this the right thing to move forward with? And if it's not, adjust, adapt, and use quick content to move your business forward. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that if you're making content or aspiring to be a content creator, hopefully to grow your online business, that I have a free tool for you, and I do, and it's called the Content Log. Now, this is the first time I've ever made this available to anyone outside of my Personal Freedom Mentoring program, but I'm excited because I know that it can help you. So if you're making content or you want to be a regular content creator, the Content Log is for you. And the way it works is it helps you go from idea all the way to published and micro content in one easy view. And it's something that I check every single day in my business and that I'm inside of, and that you can start to use right now so that you can start getting ahead of your content, start planning stuff, and just really staying organized. You see, in Personal Freedom Mentoring, I teach my students that money is attracted to two things: speed and organization. And the reality is, when you have a place to be organized, you're gonna go faster. And so you're gonna be attracting more of the situations into your life where your business is thriving and really benefiting from it. And the Content Log is one of those places that you can start. To get that, head to personalfreedommentoring.com/content, or comment the word content on this video and I'll send it directly to you. I also know that a percentage of you just want to cut the line and move faster, and that you're ready for that change right now in your life. And if that's you, I super admire it, because I was in your shoes as well, and I operate that way in my life and my businesses. And I have found that the results follow for those sorts of people. So if that's you and you're ready to move faster, then here's what I want for you to do. Comment the word adapt below wherever you're watching this, or send me a DM with the word adapt. And what we'll do is we'll have a quick chat to see if or how I can help you. And if so, we'll hop on a quick call and just talk about what we can do together and what your roadmap and your plan of attack is, so that you can wake up super clear and knowing the exact things you need to do or to avoid to grow your online business in today's new economy. If that's you, just comment the word adapt wherever you're watching this or send me a private message with that word. I'll know what to do and we'll get a time on the books to talk about where you're at and what we can do together. Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow wherever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.